feel like we should like come up with some sort of intro for this. You know, I mean, I know we were planning on like doing the gi walking in thing, but
dude, I would love.
It's like 7 a.m.
I would love to have like a little keyboard here, and then just like have a little like dee 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 dee. Welcome to Between Two Gis. I'm Samer. This is Tyler. This is Sean.
Yeah.
Let him in.
Yeah, Sean's not here today. He likes men, but different men.
Yeah.
Not us. But yeah, so let's get right into what we were talking about for this. So, Papa John's.
Papa John. Singular.
Papa John. The Papa John.
So, as we know, he was ousted from his company for using racial slurs on a conference call.
Was it directed towards a pizza, or was it like an individual?
I think it was directed. I think it was directed towards an individual, but he has been known to call pizzas the N-word frequently. But he also had cases of like sexual harassment against him and stuff.
I mean, who doesn't at this point?
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't know how much of a joke that was, but it is kind of true. Like,
it was very much a joke, but
what's the thing is like, it's witch hunt season. I think a lot of the time, it's guilty until proven innocent. But next, I got thoughts on that. So there's a meme that came out, like we talked about, and that I thought was a joke, but it apparently isn't. And it's of him being like really sweaty and like red eyes, and I mean, just looks like he's in rough shape.
Yeah.
And he says, "I've had 40 pizzas in the past 30 days," because and I thought it was fake, but apparently it's a real interview of him. After he was ousted, he had that many pizzas to see if they changed his recipe after they kicked him out. And,
yeah. Pull it up. I need to see this. Yeah, it's interesting to think that he would suspect that as soon as the company is like, you know what, he's done. Now it's time to, tamper with the thing that made us great.
Oh, of course. Well, this happens all the time, I think. As soon as somebody is ejected from a position of like authority or even just like stardom in some way, of celebrity, all of a sudden everything becomes a conspiracy and everything becomes like this narcissistic, like it's everybody versus me, or they're doing this against me. It has nothing to do with their like, hey, maybe we should change the pizza for the good of the company.
Right.
No, it's fuck John. It's fuck Papa. So
what if they did that? What if they changed the name of the company just depending on who the owner was at that time?
To Kitty John's or something. He ain't dad no more.
Kitty John's. Well, I was saying like let's say like the new CEO's name is like Mike, and it's like Papa Mike's now, and you're like
Uncle Mike's Pizza.
Yeah. All right.
The sound bite alone is worth it right here.
Pizzas.
Hang on, wait.
Okay.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Living currently in Mark Shapiro should be in jail. He has no pizza experience. He's never been in the pizza category. I would just say, stay tuned. The day of reckoning will come. The record will be straight.
Why not set the record straight now? I mean, what is it about the record that's not straight?
Stay tuned.
What a fucking weirdo. The amazing...
What?
I'm telling you.
What was up with that laugh? The evil chuckle, and he was like, stay tuned. If I was working in Papa John's headquarters, I would be very concerned right now.
I would be too. Mainly because of this fucking full 26 seconds. But he said whatever Mr. Shapiro should be in jail, he has no pizza experience. Those two things, like, you need to bridge something there.
Yeah,
dude.
like, it's like, help us connect the dots that are going on in your head.
Yeah, please help me. I love that he said reckoning with like the accent that he actually had pizza in his mouth, like he was mid-chew when he said it.
He has no pizza experience. He's never been in the pizza category. I would just say, stay tuned.
He gets so serious.
Will come. The record will be straight.
Why not set the record straight now? I mean, what is it about the record that's not straight?
Stay tuned.
That is so terrifying.
It is very terrifying. He's gonna like.
But to his defense, he does look like he's eaten 40 pizzas in the past 30 days.
I do not 100% doubt it. I mean, I'm skeptical, but then like, that is the face of a man.
And they did him no favors with that interview.
That lighting.
They were like, "Oh, cool, you look red and sweaty. Let's put some like red lights on you. Let's make sure it's shining extra bright so we can get the glistening of how sweaty you are."
Look like a pizza. Look like a human pizza.
I mean, if he would have been covered in cheese, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference.
I think the sweat made the effect.
Yeah, the sweat, just his overall, like, he just looks like he's cried himself to sleep every night for the past 30 days.
And wiped his tears,
with pizza.
with crust.
Oh, that was rough.
It really was. I mean, it really is impressive, though. Like, that was all narcissism. It was like, oh, well, they did this to me.
Yeah, well, and it's so weird to see somebody like him, who you always see on the commercials, and he's so happy. He's always there, spinning his dough, and he's just like, better ingredients, better pizza. Like, to go from that to that.
To better conspiracies, better pizza.
Yeah, like, I mean, he looked like he's done nothing but sit in his basement and YouTube Papa John's pizza recipe over and over and over.
Dude, so that's what the article's claiming, right?
Right.
They claim that he's. I love the condescension. It's Papa claims to have eaten 40 of his namesake chain's pies in the past 30 days, and then in italics knows something tastes different. Like, it's so patronizing.
It is, but it's so weird. It's so weird to watch. Like, I don't know. It would be like if Colonel Sanders just came out one day and was like, you know what? I'm done with this. This KFC's better watch out. I know that chicken's different. If it's even still chicken. And then you just be like, what?
I could just picture like you watching regular TV, and then like the screen, like the signal gets hijacked, and then it's just like the Colonel in like a black room, and you just like, listen.
Yeah, like it's the same thing.
We gotta make that.
That's gotta happen, or I could see like the next, the upcoming Super Bowl, like, Peyton Manning sitting there trying to do his Papa John spot, and then it just switches over. There's like a pizza in chains, like in a chair.
It's like that Mysterio scene from the last Spider-Man movie. He's like, listen, guys, like, I don't have a lot of time. He's like, the recipe's different. I swear, you have to believe me.
It's like, this was supposed to be the day of reckoning.
Eli's real name is Elijah. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, dude. That guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird to see just things like that, like, unravel.
I'm telling you, man.
Shout out to Bill Cosby, too. But it's very much in that same vein of, like, it's always, like, the guys that seem, like, untouchable. Man. Like, I would have never thought that Papa John's was going to get kicked out of his own company for, like, misconduct. I mean, I don't know him personally, but, like, that surprised me.
That's why, I mean, honestly, like, it's the 30-year-old hipster in me, right? Like, I joke around when I say it, but I also mean it. If someone's like, let's order pizza, I voice my objection. I'm like, can it not be Papa John's? I'd rather it be Pizza Hut.
Really?
Because I don't like tasting the N-word in my pizza. And that's just...
Has someone written it on your pizza before?
No, but that's what his whole thing is. And I mean... Dude,
well, clearly it's different pizza now, so you should be good.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm doing you a favor, Pop. Doing you a favor, Daddy John.
Yeah, he might actually be proud of you now. be like, after these 40 pies, I've been shunning it too.
He's like, I don't taste any bigotry in this sausage. I don't care for this. I've had over 40 bigotries in the past 30 days. Yeah, man, that's like, apparently that's been a thing, because, he said he had that whole, I think he was involved in that shut up and play football thing, or shut up and...
Was he?
Yeah, or no, it was shut up and dribble for basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was the whole kneeling thing.
Yeah.
He voices objection to it, and then he was all like, I don't know, buddy with President Trump on that.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, before today, I had no idea that he wasn't a part of Papa John's anymore.
Really?
Yeah, that's how big of a rock I live under.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't have known if it wasn't for like Reddit and having a bunch of like super liberal friends.
See, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, unless it's super big news, like I found out, like, not to get political, but like that Trump got impeached like 2 days after it happened.
Oh, really?
Or I think it was like the day of, but I was like, they're voting on this? Like, have they been talking about this? Like, where have I been?
It'd been really funny if you're like, I just found out Trump was president like 2 days ago.
No, I've known that.
Yeah, everyone, one way or the other would let you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the Facebook messages, telling me.
Did you get a lot of that?
I did. I got not as much over the internet, but a surprising amount, considering if there's any relation, it's very distant.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, I think John Oliver did a piece where he exposed the origins of his last name not being Trump.
Really?
It was Drumpf. It was D-R-U-M.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then he might not even be in the same
clan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my family, it was the same last name, except for there was just a Von in front of it.
Okay, so it was Von Trump. Oh, that's fucking badass.
Right?
How do you not change it back?
I tried.
You totally
Then my parents were like, no, because you won't sound like you're from the same thing. This is also like me in high school. I was like, no, this will sound way cooler.
You know what I think? I think that should be your present to yourself, your 30-year-old present to yourself.
I'm okay with that.
Von Trump? Dude, are you fucking kidding me?
It's so much cooler.
How would you not be, like, you would either be a billionaire in your own right, or a supervillain, or both. And I would be completely okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
Tyler Von Trump? Get the fuck out of here.
Right?
That's amazing.
But yeah, so let's see. I only got one really weird long post from this lady that I don't know, zero mutual friends, and it was a private Facebook message, and she told me, this is a direct quote, that she was praying for my dad as he leads the country. Then she sent this weird picture of this cat in a bird's nest with a bunch of baby ducks, and she was like, and I hope he gathers the country around him like this cat gathers the ducklings. I shit you not.
So was this not like a troll message?
No, because then she went on to give her whole life story about how she, like, it was not great English, but how she came over from the Philippines or something like that, and how it was like this whole weird thing. It got super personal. I just didn't know what to say. Like, this lady's like literally like, hey, I'm praying for your dad. I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, look, it's not my dad.
Yeah.
I just didn't say anything.
I wouldn't know what to do either. Well, I remember you.
So I got a couple ones like that. I got one from a blog. What was it called? Called How Stuff Works.
I know How Stuff Works. That's a pretty big blog.
Yeah, so they reached out to me, and they were like, hey, we're doing a survey.
I think you told me about this.
Yeah. They were like, hey, we're doing a survey of people with the last name of Trump. That was like right before he got elected. It was like the week of the election.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, we are asking people with the last name of Trump, how having that last name has affected their daily life.
No fucking
So they must have reached out to a bunch of, I mean, there's not a bunch of Trumps, but...
Sure, but surely there's like enough to...
There's enough,
to
I guess,
get, like,
that...
a sample size.
Yeah, so I did respond to that one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I just replied. I was like, well, for one, people I don't know have been sending me the surveys, and that's really the only way it's affected my daily life. And
You had that one guy on Instagram.
Oh,
randomly.
The white power guy.
Yeah, that was very strange.
That was strange.
That was like, cause I followed his I looked at his page.
Did you?
Yeah, after that.
I didn't. I was like, scared, delete.
Well, it wasn't, he thought you were a white supremacist. He, like, for no reason,
really?
solely because of your name. Yeah, so his page was only, it was like...
So I like to go on record and say I'm most definitely not.
No, yeah,
Carry
I'm brown,
on.
we're buddies, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, his page was like minority power and stuff. Like it was like a lot of black power stuff, and it was a lot of.
Oh.
So he thought you were like, he was basically trying to troll you, but severely misinformed. Is that not great?
That's so much better. 'Cause I was like, oh shit, the white supremacists have found me, and I was like, this is not...
It's like the Sith, they're just like, join us. And you're like, no!
Yeah.
No, I won't.
Right.
I hate sand.
But yeah, no, that's exactly what it was like. And I had that fear of like, oh no, I'm about to get associated with this.
No, so, I mean, I had a friend in Chicago, or I guess it was a friend of my cousin's. And it was like in 2003 or something like that. You know, when everything was super, still really raw after 9/11, and his name was Osama, which is a very common name, right? It's a very common Arabic Muslim name.
Oh,
but he like, because he was so entrenched in the Arabic community, he got nothing.
good.
Yeah. It was nothing. So, but it's very similar, right? Because like you would think, like, okay, if your name is Osama, and then you are interacting with like most of culture, then, or most of like American culture, then
they're gonna bring it up.
Yeah, they're gonna bring it up. You're gonna get shit on. You're gonna get whatever. But just like you mainly hang out around people you know, and no one's gonna be like, oh well, Trump, Tyler Trump.
So. Actually, it depends. Sometimes, like, I'll get it at, like, grocery stores, or, like, at Starbucks or something all the time, because they'll see my card. Usually, it'll just be like like any relation, and then that's it.
Okay.
At least, because I would even get stuff for that, like, before he got elected. Like, just when he was known for The Apprentice. Sure. People would be like, oh, like, or the guy from The Apprentice?
Or WWE.
Right. One of his many interesting TV spots.
Right.
But yeah, so it was really after when I was in college down at Georgia State, that was one where you would get some interesting reactions because they would call out roll at the beginning of each class. So I would have, my very liberal professors most of the time. They would be looking around, they would get here and they'd be like, been waiting to see who this is. Tyler Trump.
Oh, brother.
And then you just bang. Me. I had one professor that I actually really liked, and he was really cool, but he would call me Mr. Trump. He was a history professor. And so he would just, like, say something. It was American history, too. So he would be like, all right, now what do you think, Mr. Trump? And I'd be like, oh, God. He would always be like, hey, like, if I'm going too far, like, let me know. It's like, no, you're fine.
Yeah, that puts you in an awkward position anyway.
But then, like, one day, like, it was something we had an option of writing, like, a paper on, like, 2 or 3 different subjects. So one of them was Reagan. So I wrote it on that. And he was like, all right, so these are your options. Mr. Trump, what are you writing yours on? I was like, Reagan. And he was like, I thought you would. And then he kept going. I was like,
So was he also, like, super liberal or...
Was
it more of kind of a playful
thing?
It
was more of a playful thing.
Okay.
There was a couple of them where they would say something and they'd just look at you and be like, Like one professor legitimately, it was another history professor. It was an early history professor. And she actively didn't like me because of my last name. Like it affected my grades in that class.
That is fucking nuts to me. It's like, I'll tell you, self-awareness is an amazing thing because not a lot of people have it. Mm-mm. And so you have these people who are super principled and who are just like, no one, I would think you can even interview most racists and ask them, do you think racism is wrong? And they'll be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And then they'll do something racist and not acknowledge it as racism.
For sure.
And
because I think nobody wants to identify themselves as that.
Right.
They're always looking around.
Well, it's the whole, make America great again thing, right? Everyone will agree, yeah, we want America to be great. No one's going to disagree with that. But then when you ask how.
Yeah, that's where it's different.
That's where it begins. That's where people begin to differ. Same thing when you talk about values. Everyone's like, yeah, I like values, obviously. But then, it happens that way. It's really funny. I have, growing up in the Middle Eastern culture, we experience shit like that all the time. But if you interview a lot of Middle Eastern people, culturally, they tend to have a little bit of racist tendencies. They don't treat black people very well. At least I'm not saying the younger generation absolutely is way better.
Right.
And it's a thing, but the older generation, for whatever reason, still has a little bit of negative behavior towards black people. And the self-awareness is non-existent in that because I'm you guys got shot. These family men and family women were called terrorists and stuff, but then it's just well, here you go, acting completely different around a black person.
Damn.
And so to your point, your professor being who didn't like Trump probably because of racism, or at least general prejudice, is being prejudiced against you.
Yeah.
So,
it's very weird.
It is very weird.
Yeah, and especially too where it's I have no connection to him in class, so it's why can't we get past this?
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's like the Osama thing, right?
Yeah.
If your name's Osama, you're probably fucking a terrorist. That's it.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I had this college professor. She was really sweet, but I don't think she was very. I'm not even going to say her name, but I don't think she was very smart. Now looking back to how she taught my sociology class.
Oh, well, that says all I need to say.
Kind of, yeah, for real. We talked about. It was almost something out of a television show. She made this. She starts describing some sociologist's description of the attempt was to describe a native tribe or to describe this this tribe that did these things, and it's I forgot what they called it, but this tribe members would put this gunk on a stick and then wipe it on their teeth, and then they would basically just describe Western tendencies, so brushing your teeth, but they would write it in a way. And so my friend, it's
the Crest family back in the day.
The cold gates of the city, but my friend and I would just kind of we got it, and so we were she's all right, try and guess, and wait till the end, and my friends were talking about Americans, and she's wait till the end, and then she kept going and going and going, and we're just she's and do you know what we're talking about? We're Americans. Anyway, she got so frustrated with us because she asked the question of, and this is just whatever reason I think a super liberal thing. For the record, I am not liberal, nor am I conservative. I'd like to say I'm a centrist, but who the fuck knows? But she asked, she's well, do you think men and women should be able to have the same jobs? Or should be qualified to have the same jobs? And even at the time we believe, I'm yeah, well, I mean, if it's running a company or something, yeah, why the fuck not? But if it's something like construction, right, that requires manual labor.
For sure.
We were no. And she's why not? And everybody got up in arms, we were being these fucking sexist assholes. And I was well, I'm not saying don't ever hire a woman, but I'm saying I think men are physically better equipped for that.
Yeah. But I do think Joe Rogan has a great bit on this in one of his comedy specials because he talks about that same exact scenario. But he's but when you think about it, men can't do everything that men can do.
So, yeah.
And it's like, as much as I would love to be like a starting center for an NFL team, it's just not going to happen. I'm just not 300 pounds.
That's true. That's true. And so the point that I brought up was, and it was a dumb point, because I could have used a different example, but I was like, well, you know, how many women could bench press 200 pounds? And at the time, I couldn't bench press 200 pounds. And so, like, someone immediately called it out. They're like, can you bench press 200 pounds? I was like, no, but I should have lied.
That would have helped.
I should have lied, but
would have helped your point.
But I mean, even 100 pounds, right?
Right.
Or even like 120 pounds or something, because I could have definitely done that. I think. But yeah, I mean, there's like, you know, there's the physical differences are glaring between men and women, but she refused to admit that or acknowledge that. I don't know. You want to take a break?
Yeah, we'll be back after word from our sponsors.
Which is either going to be Crest, KFC, or Papa John's.
It's definitely going to be Papa John's. Have you ever cried yourself to sleep at night? Because we have.
Because I've had over 40 pizzas in the past 30 days.
There's no need for you to eat non-racist pizza anymore.
I don't regret it.
Now, thanks to Papa John's, you can. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza.
I'm so tired.
Well, now we're back.
Man, that Papa John's sure is racist, huh?
40 pies, 30 days.
So, you know.
The internet's weird.
The internet is weird.
Let's I think one of our favorite things to do now has just been going to Ask Reddit.
Yes. This is a cool thread. It's what are the creepiest declassified documents of the last decade?
Oh.
So in the past decade, they got to declassify some shit that previous generations haven't been able to read.
I've always wondered about that.
Dude,
I feel like there's some crazy stuff, like not like the aliens or whatever, but I feel like there's some cool things that we're just missing out on.
Oh, certainly. There are very credible people who believe that there are aliens out there, or that made it here, and the government's covering it up. Yeah, I forget one of their names. He was on Rogan.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah, and he says that Area
He's the guy that has
51
the documentary on. He was the guy that like said he worked on the spaceships.
I think that was him. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because he says Area 51 is kind of a hoax. Like that's what they want you, where they want you to believe the aliens are. But then there's another place.
Right, but I guess my only hesitation with any of that is if it's like, if I'm the government, and then we find out that they're aliens, I don't think that would be something I would want to keep to myself. Because, especially if we think they're going to attack us at some point, we would want everybody to be like, hey, just so everybody knows, there's some aliens coming. But, I mean, I know that would probably cause, like, worldwide panic and hysteria.
Hysteria, yeah, Watchmen style.
It would, but I think there would have to be, like, a weird balance of, like, hey, just so everybody knows, we should start teaching this in schools. There are aliens out there.
I agree. I also just, I don't know one way or the other. I mean,
I don't either.
Here's the deal. If it came out, if it came out that there were like aliens in Area 51 or wherever, I would not be surprised, but I'd be very excited.
Yes.
I wouldn't be like, holy shit, I had no idea, but I also wouldn't be like, oh, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
they
cool.
Called it. Yeah, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah. All right, let's hear some of these.
So this is okay. To preface this, I'm also not a conspiracy theorist by any means, and when like people don't trust the government,
sure,
I'm just like, okay, like the people who are like, I'm off the grid, I'm not getting a cell phone, blah blah blah, too much. Also, the people that have complete trust in the government,
Too much.
Ignorant, yeah.
Yeah.
So, example, Operation Sea Spray. So the U.S. Navy literally released pathogens in San Francisco in order to affect the whole population just to see what happened. And this happened in 1950.
Okay, so not recent.
Yeah, it wasn't
very
recent.
long ago.
But yeah, the recent shit the government's doing is still fucked up. Like
Sure.
the fucking Panama Papers, man. I guess it's not technically the government, but like, you know what the Panama Papers are?
Mm-mm.
It was documents literally tracing like offshore banking, illegal offshore banking by like senators and by like super high profile people. It was super illegal. It was like, it's probably the biggest case of tax fraud ever. And because enough people in power are going to be affected by it, everyone just
Nothing's going to happen.
nope, yeah, like, we're not going to worry about it. But yeah, Operation Sea Spray.
All right.
It was 1950. The U.S. Navy experimented. I don't know how to pronounce this, but
Bacteria.
yeah, Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigi. Bacteria was sprayed all over San Francisco Bay in California. It ended up causing like UTIs, and it ended up causing just like pneumonia and stuff.
I love that they picked San Francisco of all the cities.
Well, it was right there in the bay, so they could kind of control the
Got
the spray. Yeah. There was no evidence that the Army had alerted health authorities before it blanketed the region with bacteria. You know what this sounds like? This sounds exactly like the Tuskegee experiments. Do you not know what the Tuskegee experiments are?
No.
Experiments are? Dude, this is one of the most fucked things the government ever did. So I'm trying to I'll find out exactly when it happened.
Okay.
But they infected a population of black Americans in Tuskegee, Alabama with syphilis. Do you know why?
Why?
Just to see what would happen. So they would...
What?
They would... Yeah. Look, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. It was a study. They just called it a study. Between 1932 and 1972 by the U.S.
way.
By the U.S. Public Health Service. So they infected...
The natural history of untreated syphilis?
Yep. So they would call these black people in for shots or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're getting a health check," and they would infect them with syphilis, not tell them, and let them spread it in their community just to see how it works. Here's where it gets fucked. Even more fucked is they lost funding and just didn't tell anybody.
Whoa, wait. What do you mean that? So the government cut them off?
So they could no longer like fund the study for observation. So they couldn't call people back and see how it worked and like, oh, how are you feeling today? And like, oh, are you experiencing any strange symptoms? Yeah.
So they just went, that's it.
They're like, sorry. Not even sorry, by the way, you have syphilis. Just like, I'm out.
Later?
Yep. It's so fucked up. And I mean, that's just like
oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you, dude. Like, I get why people are like, oh, I don't want to get vaccinated a little bit. Even though there's like a lot more science behind vaccines than...
Sure, but...
A 40-year experiment that just lost funding.
No way.
And what's messed up is penicillin was available back then.
Well, penicillin's been around for a long time.
It was invented in 1947, and they just didn't give it to anybody. They didn't tell anyone they were infected. That's the most messed up thing. Could you imagine having sex with somebody knowing that you gave them like an STD and just not saying anything? I get you not knowing you had one, like, still unethical. You should still get tested. It's not unethical, but maybe irresponsible at best. But just giving someone syphilis on purpose just to see how it worked? Is that not disgusting?
That's so disgusting. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got.
I haven't seen any of it yet, but like the Cuban Missile Crisis stuff is still being declassified. So like bits and pieces of it. Apparently it's terrifying. Yeah, they're not breaking any of it down.
All right, what else we got that's not government conspiracies? Or not conspiracies, but things that the government did.
So this is interesting. The document declassified just a couple weeks ago is the war in the Middle East that we've been fighting for over a decade.
Yeah.
Is completely unwinnable. And they've known this for the majority of the war. And so, like, we're essentially trying to take an organized group of fighters and fight...
An idea.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because, like, Islam is a very vast religion, so you have several different aspects of it. You have the more kind of peaceful kind.
Sure.
And
there's like 1 billion Muslims, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if you take 1% of that, that's a ton of people.
Yes, what is it, 100,000?
At least.
Or something? Yeah, 1% of a billion?
Right.
It's either that or...
I don't know.
Or
it's way too early for math for me.
Yeah, no, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, that's a substantial amount of people.
It is, and you're fighting an idea.
10 million.
10 million.
No, that's 10 million.
Jesus, yeah.
So 1% is
10 million people. Yeah, and like.
That's so many.
You can obviously say the same thing with Christianity, right?
We were so off.
I know, right? Like two zeros off.
At least.
Yeah. But you could say the same thing with Christianity, right? Or like, because those are pretty much the two biggest Abrahamic religions in the world. You have Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
Or Islam, if you want to be.
I didn't know.
Whatever about it. Yeah.
There you go.
And you both of them are militarized. And you associate countries with both.
Yeah. But part of that goes back from, well, I think most religions have countries associated with them just based off of like Hinduism in India, I think go
most
because it's the country of origin,
right.
You know. But I think those are two of the ones. Yeah,
Buddhism's kind of everywhere. I mean, like everywhere in
the
Asia.
East. Yeah, that's true.
You have that in India. You have that in China.
That's true.
Japan.
Yeah, I will say I think like Islam and Christianity are two of the ones, since they've been butting heads for so long, and they've had like, they were part of the whole thing where it's like, oh, this is our state religion, and now you have a different state religion, we must go to war. And that was like a thing for, hundreds of years.
Those are also the two only religions that I can think of, and I could be wrong, but those are the only two religions I can think of that were actively spread and that actively grew via violence.
Yeah, I can't think of another one.
Both of them operated, at least in their like.
Other than like, yeah, I mean, I guess the other one would be like paganism, like the Roman version of like, paganism, like
true,
the Roman gods and stuff like that.
Adopt our gods, yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It's funny how that works. Convert or die.
Yeah, I think luckily it's not that way anymore. But yeah, that was a very real thing.
Well, now a lot of the time it's kind of like, it's funny. I mean, religion is dying by the day. The younger generations are actively less religious. In Iceland, I think it's Iceland or Sweden or one of those
Nordic countries.
Euro countries.
Yeah.
I think 1%. They tallied 1% of people under 18 identify as religious.
Really?
1%.
That's low.
That's very low. I mean, I kind of wish that was like that here. When when I went to visit my family, so my family's like super Christian.
Yeah.
And I always just thought that's how Arabs were. I was just like, well, whatever religion an Arab is, they're super intense about it.
Yeah.
And
what's up? Oh.
But they're super intense about it, and when my parents came here, they were like, well, this is the way. And like, you can't cuss, you can't drink, there's no sex, there's no alcohol, any of it. And because they came here in the 70s, roughly.
Okay.
Right? And every Arab family we met was like that too, here.
Interesting.
And so, like, that was just my perception. I'm like, well, this is just how all Arabs are. And then when we went there and visited everyone, it was, like, stupid modern. And, like, my cousins are drinking and stuff. Like, half my cousins are atheists. And they're just, like, they took me out to get weed. It was very unexpected. I had no idea, but here's the reason I bring this up is because all the areas that we spent time where everyone identified as a religion, either Muslim, either Jewish, or either Christian, was very divisive, had very low education, and they preferred to stay in that community. Whereas when you go to the college towns, like Haifa, Israel,
okay,
everybody, for the most part, is educated, and everybody is engaging and interacting with one another. They don't care what religion you are. Most of them are atheists. I met my first gay Middle Eastern person over there. He was like super nice, very like closeted for sure, because he can't be out in the open gay in the Middle East because it's dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, religion, man. Like, I just wish it was like that over here, where like 1% of us was just like, yeah, I identify as religion. It's so much easier if you don't. You don't have allegiance to anything. You don't have an agenda. You don't have a reason to I don't know, like to dislike somebody. Or you have to work harder for a reason to dislike somebody.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's one of those things where I think, ultimately I think people will butt heads over even different ideals. Like, you'll still find that in
True.
Even in, just people. Like, they're going to find things to disagree on no matter what it is. But I think it's definitely been a good tool to just an easy say, oh, you think this way? Bam. It's just like to me it's kind of like in the arena of politics, like calling, just putting big categories on people when things are ultimately more complex, and just being like, oh, like this guy's a Muslim, I must not like him, or this guy's a Christian, I must not like him, or it'd be the same thing, like this guy's a Republican, I must not like him, or Democrat. It's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've said this for years, but I think like people need hate for motivation.
Sure.
And I mean, it's like, you ever read that Dr. Seuss story with the star-belly people? Well,
he's another interesting one, though.
He's very interesting. What does he not like kids, but he likes kids' books? Didn't
like kids.
Cheat on his wife all the time.
All the time. What was it the other day?
Philanderer.
Right, philanderer.
I'm a great philanderer. But yeah, no, he wrote a story about these Seussian people, and these two groups of people looked exactly the same. They kind of like looked like Big Bird.
Okay.
But one group of those people had stars on their bellies, and the others didn't. And it was very much like Buckhead versus Buford, I think, where like the star belly people thought they were just better than the non-star belly people, and they'd just be like, well, I don't like you because you're different.
What beautiful imagery.
Yeah. And so this guy comes into town, and he has a machine that could put stars on your bellies. So
interesting.
These people came and had stars put on their bellies. Well, the OG star belly people were like, I don't like this. I don't want to be the same as these people. And so they started having the stars removed. But it turned out, by the end, you never knew who originally had it and who didn't. But yeah, I mean, like, the weirdo lesson that I got out of that story is that people need hate to motivate themselves for some reason. We do it all the time. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look at a fucking intense-ass college football game.
Yeah.
You see someone wearing a big red shirt with a white A on it, that's not Alvin and the Chipmunks. You see them wearing
Have you ever seen anybody wearing an Alvin and the Chipmunks shirt?
No.
No, I'm just curious.
No, but I mean, you see people like
Right.
like Florida versus Bama or Georgia versus anyone who's as good as Georgia. They're literally like, "Fuck you!" Like they straight up just say "fuck you" to strangers.
Yeah.
Not all of them, obviously.
Not all of them, but even like among people that are friends.
Yeah.
Like if it's like an Alabama-Auburn game, or like, for a great example, my mom went to FSU. Both her brothers, my uncles, went to Florida.
Right.
They'll literally call each other and just be like, "Suck it," and then hang up if one or the other wins.
Right.
And it's just like, but they're like family. They have
They
great
love each other,
relationships.
right.
But that one day a year when their two teams butt heads, it goes on hold.
And I mean, even if you don't want to classify it as like true hate, right? Like it's not true hate. You're not like, all right, I fucking hope this person just dies on the way to work. You know, it's not like that.
But you'll see that sometimes though. I've literally been watching a college football game and I'll hear somebody next to me go like, "Man, I hope they just hit that quarterback like a little bit harder."
Yeah,
Take
you're
them out
like
of the
wishing
game.
them to be injured.
Right.
You know?
Now, granted, I've done it before too because I want to win my fantasy football games. So I'm watching like, look, it'd be great if just on the way there, Drew Brees decided I don't want to play today, so I can win my game.
But that's different than
I've
being
been there.
like,
That's just-
I hope Drew Brees breaks his arm, you know?
Look, I don't care how he doesn't play. But
We're all guilty of it.
yeah, but it's very weird. But it's like just because this is, and some people haven't even went to that college.
Right.
It's
That's the most amazing. That's the best part. And
like Alabama fans. I'm not saying that everybody has to go to the college
let's be
that they
real.
cheer for.
Yeah. I mean, education rates in the South are, that's just statistics.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything. But that's the thing.
Yeah, 100% it
It's
is.
so interesting that how you can pledge allegiance to this thing that you have zero affiliation with, aside from like you share borders with it, like state borders.
Yeah, or it's just you.
Or
Some
you have
people don't
family
even.
that go there,
Yeah, you have
you know?
family that went there. You just identify it as like, you know what, they're from kind of around here.
I'm not trying to shit talk sports, but like anything. Like when you said politics and religion. So we have very complex brains, obviously, but the part of your brain, the fight or flight, so the amygdala is involved in that, which is fear. That part of your brain, it acts up when if I was to get in your face and hold my fists up,
Yeah.
you'd be like, shit, like this is threatening to me, so I need to either fight him back or run away. That same part of your brain becomes agitated and activates when your views of politics or religion are challenged too.
Interesting.
So you react the same way, and what it is, it's your sense of reality. If I was to tell you that's not down, and I was to just be really aggressive about it,
Yeah.
if I was convincing enough,
I feel like it's very much in the same vein as like the flat Earth thing.
it is. That's why
Yeah.
you get. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I get really ramped up when someone's like, "No, it's flat. You're an idiot. Like you're being,
Oh,
you're being
yeah.
fooled." Or if someone's telling me about vaccines, like aren't they don't work and
Yeah.
they cause autism. Like I'm just like, no, like this. My fight or flight kicks
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and I just want to argue and belittle and
Yeah.
fucking just be condescending. It's funny. What is that Archer? ABB, always be berating and belittling.
Yeah, but I mean that's definitely a thing when it's like it challenges what you think. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good way of thinking about it though.
It's true.
I like that. But yeah, let's see what else Reddit has. Let's get some more of these going.
It's more of these conspiracies.
Conspiracies, anything. Just not that weird yeast one. We pulled up. That was terrifying.
Which yeast one?
Do you remember that? I think you showed me, what was it, that video of the whatever grew inside that orange
the bot
juice?
fly? Oh, no.
It was just like this whole like tube of yeast, and it was like as big as this coffee cup.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it grew inside this thing of orange juice for like months.
Yeah.
But it formed like a solid. It was the most weirdest thing. Like, if you had showed me that and was like, "Hey, they found an alien," and it's this, I'd be like, okay.
Dude, you know what? I mean, we could talk about is what defines an alien. I think we might have talked about this last time, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson said it one time. He was like, you know, there's a very large chance that we could have already seen an alien life form and just not noticed it. And like in the same way that like when you walk past an earthworm, does it know that you're there?
I don't know.
I mean, probably not, you know, like...
I'd assume not.
Like,
or it can probably like feel you walking, but it doesn't know exactly what you are or what's going on.
Well, maybe like it could probably sense something, right? But it doesn't think like, oh, here comes a human.
Well, yeah. So, personally, that's what I think. You know, if we ever do find something that we, you know, like an alien life form, I guess, I think it'll be something really small. It'll be like they'll find some like bacteria, or I know they already have found some of that on Mars, but it'll be like some sort of like weird like invertebrate thing, just kind of doing its thing, not like an advanced like civilization.
I think we're looking...
That's my theory. Completely speculating.
I mean, sure. It could also be something not three-dimensional.
Go all interstellar.
Yeah, for real. Like, have you ever watched Carl Sagan explain the fourth dimension?
No.
Dude. It's completely worth it. I'm going to sign it up after this and we could watch it in there. But it's like, it's incredible. And we'll talk about it next time. But
there you go.
Essentially, he describes it as like... So, you obviously know the difference between the 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions, right? So you have 2 dimensions.
There's one more.
Right. That's it.
That's it. So I'm assuming it's the same. Instead of 3, you just add in one more, and now there's 4.
Yes.
Cool.
But it's like it's slightly more complex, right? So you have the first dimension first dimension is just a point.
Okay.
There's 0 direction.
Second dimension's 2 points.
It's height. It's height and width.
I'm done.
It's height and width.
Okay.
So like if we lived in there's a Futurama episode of it.
I've never seen Futurama.
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
Or Rick and Morty.
You don't like animated shows, right?
I don't. I've tried.
I get it.
I just can't get into it.
Sarah's the same way. She hates it. She's like, if you're watching something animated, I'd just rather not be in the room. But it's like that.
Yeah, same thing. Like I tried watching some anime.
I can get down to some.
Yeah, I tried doing a lot of it, and it was just like I couldn't. I really tried. It's just not for me.
It's a good show. Like it's a very, if you like basic like science concepts or basic like philosophical science concepts, it does a great job of making it entertaining.
Okay.
Without being preachy. But essentially, like if you have 2 dimensions, then you only have height and width, and so like there's no distance from here to here. It's just like boom, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So he makes this analogy called like flatland, and he's like, can you imagine what a 2-dimensional creature would have acted like if it saw a 3-dimensional being for the first time? Because
be weird.
It would be weird, and essentially all you would see, like if this is flatland right here,
yeah,
and I would have put my hand on it, all you would see is like basically a crosshatch of my hand.
Right, it would have been like, you know, there's a pane of glass and somebody like mashes their hand on it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So it would just look like a handprint. Realistically, we look like so much more than that.
Right.
So in the 4th dimension,
okay,
all we would see is a 3-dimensional representation of it. And it could look like anything. Because the 4th dimension essentially is time, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like, have you seen Donnie Darko?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, it's a good movie.
Is it?
It's.
I've heard it's great.
It's definitely like a cult classic movie. Like you wouldn't look at it and be like, "This is film," but you'd watch it and be like, "That was cool." Like it was a very interesting concept. It's kind of like the predecessor to Interstellar, but
okay.
Yeah, I think it would look something like that, like a trail. That's what a 4-dimensional creature would look like to me, maybe. But I guess that's all we got, right?
There you go. 4 dimensions. Papa John's.
Better
next
ingredients.
time. Better pizza.
Racism. Are you feeling good? Does it not burn when you pee?
Are you tired of having sex without consequences and a little bit of danger?
Well, if you are, come over to Tuskegee, Alabama, and the Public Health Institute,
where we will give you free syphilis injections so you can spread a little Christmas joy to you and your loved ones.
That's right. You'll pass it on. It'd be just like hotcakes.
All the itching, scratching, burning, fun of, really the dark ages, passed along to you from your friends at the U.S. government.
And the best part is we're not telling anybody.
Nobody will know. So don't wrap it up and come get a shot from Public Health Services, Tuskegee, Alabama.